Audio Jungle.
This is a half-hour presentation of the Infor Cloud Suite system. As you're viewing my desktop right now, we are in the software. So this is a screen that's in the software. And I don't plan on using any PowerPoints today. It's all software you're going to see today. So again, it's Infor Cloud Suite. When to use the term Sightline? This product has been around for a very long time. Has a big, strong installed base, very loyal customer base. But a couple years back, they changed the name to Cloud Suite Industrial. It's largely the same product, although one of the reasons they changed that is it is very much so sort of cloud ready, sort of SaaS ready, although it can still be deployed in a traditional sort of on-premise mode as well. So what you're looking at right now is a diagram of the many functional areas that are included in Cloud Suite Industrial, and you'll hear me use the term CSI a lot to refer to the product. And let's just highlight a few things. What we're going to do in today's session is just show you we're going to stay pretty high level, kind of 50,000 feet above, and just so you get a feel for what this ERP system is all about. When you look at this little diagram here, we call sort of the circle of life. It's showing you the different functional capabilities, things like manufacturing management down here at 5 o'clock. And when we talk about manufacturing management, that sort of points out the sort of the comprehensiveness of our application, because it handles traditional sort of discrete manufacturing, and it also handles process manufacturing equally well. We'll show you a little bit of that. Over here at 3 o'clock, that's our material and capacity planning capability, very strong in that area. We use an engine called Advanced Planning and Scheduling. We'll see a little bit of that. Note here up at 2 o'clock, we have a built-in CRM system that's embedded in the Cloud Suite Industrial application. You'll see a little bit of that. Keep in mind that Infor has sort of a best-of-breed CRM offering as well. It used to be called Sales Logics. We'll talk about that a little bit. Just, again, identifying a few other things. Certainly over here at 10 o'clock, we have a full set of financials capabilities. At 9 o'clock here, we do multi-company operations very well. This little figure here at about 8 o'clock says we have a nice built-in event management system. That's essentially a workflow tool that helps you guide and automate business processes. Down here at 7 o'clock, we have a built-in quality system that can be used in conjunction with ISO compliance or SQF compliance. And here at about 7:30 or 8 o'clock, we have a service module for any kind of post-sales service that you have to maybe dispatch people to the field to do repair or warranty work, or if you have product return for repair and warranty work. So that's an idea of sort of the breadth of the application. Now, we have what's called an app switcher here up in the upper left-hand corner. When I click this, this allows us to see all the different apps that are part of the sort of the Cloud Suite Industrial sort of suite of products, suite of apps. This one is kind of the core ERP, but you have other things on here. We're going to look at home pages for a second. We have a business collaboration tool called Infor Mingle. We have a shop floor application tool called Factory Track. Certainly, we have a built-in document management system. It's called Infor Document Management. And we have things like business intelligence. It's all part of the sort of the overall suite of products. I could even switch to my second pane here. And here's a gateway into the full-blown CRM. Here's a tool for expense management. Here's a tool for employees. It's called an employee self-service portal that allows employees to get on a web page and see relevant information about their employee status. Okay, so this is what's called our app switcher. It's kind of common now in applications. Let's look at a couple of these things that sort of work hand in hand with the overall application. One thing is we have something called home pages. And these home pages are pretty cool. They're really designed for a user to create his or her own work environment, sort of a dashboard, the kind of thing that you walk in the morning and you sort of have things presented to you as here's what you need to address. And on a home page or a dashboard, the kinds of things that can be easily placed on here, and this is all completely sort of customizable by the user. And things that you put on here are key performance indicators, alerts, workflow indicators, just simple notes. And again, the idea is that a user can build this home page completely based on his or her needs. So I'll show you a couple of the ones that for example, I built this one called Sales Manager, and it has a lot of nice business metrics on here. Like this one is a bookings dollars per day measurement. That's a key performance indicator that comes with the system. If I switch to Joe's page, this is a page that Joe set up, and again, it has things like notes. Here's a case where you can do a lookup on an item, all right? And information like here's expiring lot numbers, and here's an inventory turns ratio. These are all things that what Joe as a user did is just sort of set these up on his homepage. And I'll give you a quick idea of how that plays out. All I have to do in order to sort of populate or make my homepage, you know, more meaningful to me is I hit this little edit button, and when I do that, we have this capability to add what we're called new widgets to a home page. So all I'm going to do is hit the plus sign here, okay, and I get what's called a widget catalog. And a widget catalog is just a listing of many different snapshots or widgets of data, and there's a lot on here. I won't scroll through them all. In fact, I purposely picked the top one here because I don't have to scroll too far. But what I do here is I just hit this add button, and it tells me I've added an inventory or on-time shipment percentage widget, and now all I'm going to do is close this, and notice what it's done. It's put that widget right here, and all I'm going to do is hit the save button. And when I do that, it'll take a second here, but you can see that now I've added on-time shipments, an on-time shipment indicator. It should pop up here in a second, and there it is. And that's how easy it is to sort of add a widget to a home page. So again, these are great tools for a user to specifically build a workspace for himself or herself and sort of queue up all the things that are important for them to address on a given day. That is what we call home pages, user home pages. Now let's look at a couple applications here. If we go to the Mingle application, let's look at this real fast. This is a business collaboration tool, and there's a whole lot of sort of collaboration opportunities that are available to you. It works on the idea of sort of like a Facebook. I don't like that comparison, but it has sort of a Facebook feel to it, and it allows you to do things like this. Claire, I need help expediting order 158. Sorry, spelling doesn't count there. And I could add an attachment, or what I could do is just post this. And when I post that, that will then automatically show up on Claire's feed, and you'll see here in a few minutes that that's kind of interacts directly with the core of the ERP system. So there's things like that you can do. You can also do things like where you follow a particular order or follow the activity of a particular customer. And when you do those kinds of things, email messages and processes sort of get automated. They sort of come to the forefront automatically. So we could spend a lot of time on that, but that's our business collaboration tool called Mingle. If I go back to my app switcher, I also have a document management system. You'll see that in a few minutes, just trying to make you aware of it for right now. We have a BI tool that's built into the Cloud Suite system. These are kind of typical cubes of data. I won't go into the details, but these are the standard views, and you can also add additional cubes of data. So this is all part of the BI tool. Now, let's get over into the core of the ERP, and I'm just switching over to the core ERP. And a few minutes ago, we showed you user-based home pages. We also have functional-based home pages. We have a whole bunch of these built in, and they're really powerful. What they sort of really do is allow a user, for example, in this case, a customer service user, to sort of have a screen that pops up that helps them sort of drive all the things that they might need to do in a day, or all the things that might surface during a day. So here's a typical home page, a role-based home page, where you can kind of see nice business metrics presented here to the user, along with some nice hot links. And then this navigator tab allows the user to kind of easily get at information. So in this case, I'm anchored to a particular customer, and I can do things like look at their open orders, look at quotes, what we call estimates, look at returns, a whole host of things. And that's the way these role-based home pages work. Now, on the role-based home pages, they are also our links or our gateways into individual detailed screens in the system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use one of the links called the items form, and I'm gonna. This is what I've brought up here is the item master in the Cloud Suite system. I'm using this because most people kind of understand the sort of a concept of an item master. Now, here's the way our screens work. I can certainly type in an item number or part number record, and now that's an item number I'm looking at. There's its item number, there's its description, here's a little picture of it. This is a widget. I'm trying to keep this generic. But that's the way you interact with the system. But also in Cloud Suite, I can do things like this. Let's say I don't want a particular record. I want to look at all purchased goods. So all I'm doing there is telling the system, retrieve purchased goods, and then when I hit my go button, I'm getting a list of purchased items. You'll see those over on the left-hand side. Now, I don't go into too much detail, but what this allows for is it allows our screens to be both sort of functional, and that allows them that you look at specific records, but they all actually sort of become like little mini report writers. So let's do one other thing here. We interact with Microsoft Excel or the Microsoft Office of products very well, including Excel. I have a button up here that I could easily take this data and export it to Excel. But I also have a capability if I want to, if I have a need to import data, I can come in here and say, here's data I need to import. I forgot to put this on my clipboard. So there's something from data from Excel that I'm going to bring in the Cloud Suite. And all I do at this point is say, yeah, I need to paste that data into the system. There it is. And when I hit OK, you're going to see a bunch of records pasted into the. So that's pasting data or copying and pasting data into the Cloud Suite system. And again, the reason I showed you that's the way the whole system works. Now, let's spend just a minute or two on some reporting capabilities in Cloud Suite. So what I'm going to do is I have a screen set up here already. This is our customer master screen. Very similar to our item master screen before. I have a whole bunch of records listed on the left-hand side, and I could search for things, and I could do a lot of sort of slicing and dicing. But if I need to do more sophisticated reporting, and keep in mind, this is what we're showing you here applies to the whole system. So what I can do at this point is I come in here and say, you know what, I want to take this data and I want to move it out to a data view. A data view is just a reporting opportunity, and from this I can sort of work with the data. So I can do things like this. I can come in and say, you know what, I want to filter this data, and I only want to look at. And by the way, what I'm doing here is I'm looking at customers, and my boss has said to me, hey, give me a report of all customer activity year to date. And I don't want to deal with any customers that I don't have any sales to. So what the user's going to do here is say, you know what, I only want to look at customers where my sales year to date is greater than $0. So something where I have some activity. So when I hit OK here, notice I've removed the 0 sales year to date customers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to do a little bit of summing, a little bit of math. So I come up and do a display and say show summaries. And I'm going to sum that column. So now I have in the year-to-date column, I have a sum. Now what I'm going to do is I'll do a little bit of grouping. And I'm going to take this by territory, and I'm going to group it by territory. And what I've just created there is a little report of sales year-to-date by territory. And at this point, I could expand the data so I kind of see summaries and individual customers. And this report could have been ad hoc in nature, or if I like it, I can come in and save it. So I did that kind of quickly, but that's representative of the various things you can do in our application, and every screen of data allows for that. Now, let's take a look at some functional areas of the system. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back and we're going to look at, we'll start off by looking at sort of order entry and customer setup. Keep in mind we have a CRM system. We don't have enough time to get into the details of that, but we do have a CRM system. What I'm going to do is jump right into the parts of the system that are related to order entry, customer setup, etc. And this is what we call a positioning form. I'll just identify a few things here. Notice we have a nice customer model where you can have customers, and those can be tiered and related to a corporate customer. If you look over on the left-hand side, this shows all the functional capabilities of the system from an order processing standpoint. Certainly customer setup. If I go to pricing, down in this area you see all the different types of pricing that we support. Again, we handle things like distributor and manufacturing pricing very well. All sorts of pricing capabilities. We do salespersons and commissions. We do quotations. If I expand this order management capability or button, I see that we do surcharges. We have an optional portal available for online ordering and online order checking. We also have a quality module that's related to activity prior to shipping material. And that quality module, you'll see a few other details about that, but it can sort of surface related to shipping activity. We also have an EDI module, and it's full functional. We can go into the details of that at some later date if you'd like. So this is part of our overall order processing capability. Now I want to show you one quick screen here. When I look, what you're looking at right now is an order entry screen. Okay, real simple to use. There's the order number, here's the customer, there's their PO, here's the line items on the order. You can see things like there's the line item, quantity, etc. There's a couple things we want to highlight at this point. Notice we have, by the way, in this case I've rendered online help right on the screen in case that's useful. But one of the things we think is pretty cool about our system is our built-in order promising capability that's real-time and very powerful. So in this case, what the system has the ability to do, it says the customer wants this goods shipped on May 9th, which I think is already in the past, and you hit this Get ATP button that stands for Available to Promise. The system comes back and tells you whether or not you can ship on that date. In this case, it's saying you're not able to do that, and then if you want to, you can drill into the details by hitting Planning Detail. Now again, there's a lot going on here, but what this is showing the order entry person or maybe the master scheduler how the system is planning that particular order. Again, that's kind of real-time planning of how a new demand, in this case a sales order, would be sort of processed through the company. Again, that's through the selecting of this magical button. All right, let's take a look at one other order real fast. In this case, what I'm going to do is pull up a customer's PO number. All right, so in this case, instead of dealing with my internal number, what I did is I pulled up a customer PO number, and from this I can see, yeah, there's the customer, here's the product that was ordered, and I can see, oh yeah, 4 were ordered and those 4 have been shipped. And if I want more detail on that, I can just click the shipments button, and from then I can see, yeah, this was shipped on this date, and because we have nice built-in interfaces to things like UPS, FedEx, and other carriers, I can quickly get at a carrier's tracking number and to see when it was delivered. So that's a little bit, kind of went through that real quickly, but that's a little real quick one through on order entry kinds of things. Now what we're going to do is switch topics real fast, and we're going to talk about manufacturing. So in this case, I'm going to switch over to another home page called Production Planner Home. And from here, note a couple things. Notice I've been using these overview buttons, and in this case, we'll look at planning overview first and highlight a few things here. When I look at this, keep in mind that our system has a traditional MRP capability, but it also optionally has an APS capability, Advanced Planning and Scheduling. That's the tool that allowed us to do sort of real-time bona fide order delivery promising, and it has a whole bunch of other capabilities as well that sort of allows for advanced material and capacity planning. The other things to be aware of, and I won't look at all of these, but look over here, it says what if planning. That's our built-in tool to allow you to do business simulations. Let's say you're expecting some change in your business, ramping up to a new set of orders from a new customer. You can create a simulation environment to see what that might mean for your company. We have a statistical forecasting capability that if you have the need to sort of use highly analytical, quantitative, statistical processes in order to drive a statement of future demand, that's what statistical forecasting can allow for. We also have a sales and operations planning module. I can go into a lot of details there, but the point here is the overall material and capacity planning capabilities of the system are very comprehensive. So that's material planning and capacity planning. Now, when you look at manufacturing activity, note there's 2 options here, discrete manufacturing and process manufacturing. Let's look at discrete real fast. When we go to discrete, we certainly know that we handle traditional work orders. We also handle sort of Kanban sort of orderless-based production, and we can do things like blanket work order production as well. I won't go into all these details, but the idea here is from a discrete manufacturing standpoint, we can handle sort of any kind of scenario that might sort of be relevant at your organization. All right, now that's discrete manufacturing. If I come over and look at process manufacturing, we have a great process manufacturing model as well. In this case, it sort of works off of this idea of a split BOM or split formula. And the idea is we allow you to develop formulas where you batch produce material or batch produce, and then from that batch production, you then package in various different sizes of packaging. It's a very typical, good, classic sort of deployment of process manufacturing. If I went over to this flow tab, you'd see on here we have things like formulas and manufacturing specifications. Formulas dictate the various different ways that you could produce finished products. Okay, if I drilled into the formulas here, it's just a button I can click, and you'd see here this is the formula setup screen. So that's all about process manufacturing. Okay, now let's look at a couple other sort of functional areas. I'll close that out. And keep in mind, as we mentioned before, we have a built-in quality module. And when we say quality, we mean it's a pretty comprehensive embedded quality capability. I'm going to bring up one of our overview screens here as well. And when I look at this, our quality capabilities sort of are bound to these types of tasks in the system where it says PO receiving. That means if you have component parts or ingredients that are subject to inspection, we can model those inspection requirements, and upon receipt of the material, we can trigger inspection activities, and those inspection activities can allow for a lot of data gathering and then determining whether the material is compliant or not. If it's not compliant, the system has built-in non-compliance capabilities and built-in corrective action processes. The same kind of types of tools apply for production, what we call work in process quality. So if there's certain steps in the manufacturing process that are going to require inspections or tests or just data gathering, those can be invoked as well. And the same sort of non-compliance and corrective action capabilities exist in this area. Same thing applies that if there's any kind of special inspection processes that might need to take place prior to shipment, that's what this is for. And word on this QC enterprise. The top three of these have to do with the sort of quality requirements related to material. QC enterprise is a set of functional capabilities that allow you to sort of build your quality system, and you can actually build your sort of your quality manual in this system, and then track sort of non-conformances in the way you're using your quality system. So it's kind of a really clever little module. All right, that is the quality module. Now, wanted to mention also to you this idea that we do after sales service as well. So if I come over and I have a little overview screen for this as well, service. Again, in case I wasn't clear about this, what we mean by service is it's the kind of thing that, let's say you sell product that might be subject to post-sale service for repair or warranty, things like that, and maybe you have to dispatch technicians out into the field, or maybe product is sent back to you. All right, we have a full service capability here that allows you to do things like track and serialize product you've sold out in the field. When there's problems with it, or if it's subject to warranty activity, you can trigger those activities, and you can process things like what we call service orders when you have to actually work on that product. Again, this can trigger billing activity, or if the material is under warranty, it won't trigger a billing event. Notice we have a call center. That's really just there to allow you to track any kind of activity that a customer might call in about, and that maybe they need to somehow resolve that related to product that they've purchased from you. Calls can be resolved sort of on the fly, or they can result in service orders. The other things to note about our service capability is we handle warranty and contracts very well, and we have a full-blown scheduling capability to schedule technicians that have to do work. And by the way, that scheduling capability, that the recipients of work that's been assigned, they can use the system in either the user interface you're seeing now or through smartphones. So we have a nice smartphone deployment of service scheduling. Okay. Now, getting down to the end here, I want to show you briefly, and by the way, we just decided on a few functional areas to highlight. Certainly, the system has a whole bunch of other capabilities that we could have mentioned as well. We could drill into the details. I want to show you one other thing here, show you our factory reporting tool. This is called Factory Track, and it's another sort of application that comes with a Cloud Suite industrial system. And what you're seeing here is a sort of a main screen where I have clocked in as a particular user. In this case, I'm David Daniels. And from this one screen, and by the way, this screen is very sort of touch screen oriented. And from this, I can do things like time and attendance transactions where I can clock in and clock out, or I can record I'm going to break. If I go to the material tab, I can record consumption of raw materials or ingredients. I can move material from one routing step to another. If I go to the labor tab, I can do things like this. I can get, if I hit the Work Center button, I can get a list, sort of a online list of all the open work orders that I could clock onto. This really allows you to do sort of paperless manufacturing. And if I click over here where it says documents, I have ready-made access to documents that I might need in order to sort of perform my tasks. So again, you can sort of get to a paperless approach. All right. So this is all part of our factory reporting tool. In this case, I'm emphasizing sort of labor activity by folks that might be in the plant or on the shop floor. We also have a module within Factory Track that's designed for inventory transaction processing. So doing things like recording shipments on sales orders, or recording the receipt of material off of a purchase order, or moving material from one area of the warehouse to another. That's also part of our factory reporting system. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. It's about 11:28. Those are the main things I want to show you. Maybe I have a minute or two here. What I'll do is just come over back into the main system here. Keep in mind, as we said before, we got a lot of these nice home pages. I could have spent some time on the purchasing or buyer home page, where I have, again, a very nice consistent feel here where I have navigator information where I can kind of quickly see, as a buyer, this is who I am, and this is a listing of all my late purchase orders. Again, it's just sort of one-click access to relevant information. Similarly, if I was the company's controller, I have a home page for that, where, again, I have a lot of nice business metrics, but if I go to our navigator tab, I have nice online access to things like a customer aging list. Or how about this? If I go to the trial balance tab, that's an online trial balance. Again, the idea is we can sort of move to a sort of a paperless deployment of the system because so much of this data is sort of available right there at the user's fingertips.